What? You shouldn't sneak up on an old fella like that. You shouldn't be out here anyway. This is Kinrath territory. There was a time when seeing a Kinrath was a rare thing. They mostly were around some caves to the south of here. But now, they're everywhere. They're dangerous, too. More vicious than they used to be. I'd stay away from the eastern side of the plains. And now that I think about it, stay away from the west, too. The west is filled with cat hounds. Dantooine is in a sad state these days. Mostly because the Republic has left us to fend for ourselves. I gave the Republic the best years of my life, and I understand they're under pressure. But I think that they'd be able to spare at least something to help us out. All we get is sympathy. Some law and order, for one thing. Take what I'm doing right now. A couple weeks back, there was an accident here. One of the western fringe farmers was coming to Khoonda on his swoop with a load of atmospheric sensors. We found him dead and his swoop bike all banged up. I've come back a couple of times to try to figure out if that's what really happened. I do. The Kinrath are dangerous, but as long as you stay on your swoop bike, there's no way they should catch you. I've carefully searched this area and haven't found anything. So maybe our man just got sloppy. We really need those atmospheric sensors.
But Dantooine is temperate. There is no need for atmospheric sensors except for seasonal data collection.
Huh? It's just important we get it back. They're expensive pieces of equipment, and we can't afford to replace them. Regardless, I don't suppose you'd be willing to keep an eye out for something. I doubt you'll be able to find any evidence of what happened here, but you might come across the atmospheric sensors. They have to be somewhere. If you find any of them, just come back here. I'll pay you 1,000 credits for each one you can find, even if they're broken. No idea whatsoever. I figure it's a real long shot you'd ever spot one, but I also figure it wouldn't hurt to ask.
I don't know about that. They are vitally important pieces of equipment on tectonically or environmentally unstable regions. But do you really need atmospheric sensors on Dantooine? I'll have this open in no time. Child's play.
Everyone, on the guard!
This won't take long.
Defend yourself!
This won't take long.
Yutapak, mito, hai best nikta dochi mapao krawe nosha. What a lord chiba fusot bachila nuba chubanok. Yatuka uwanrika chotin wani maurata wakata chiluma lithpa. Krempawi cho simorangta weba gonorimbo. Harandoto, jun sorito mas, jurun makagrodo soto. Yatuka uwanrika chotin wani maurata wakata chi lumalispa. Yatuka uwanrika chotin wani maurata wakata chi lumalispa. Bram tabanin sochu. Da come jusmak miki baranye doso so rika chondin, wana magrable mogo. Yatuka uwanrika chotin wani maurata wakata chi lumalispa. Charika yayakta min sobachina ninga ballo cha jukso ni chortuna. Kavanata galu, kavanami donki krato. Huta yanolia, jukta gene chubawonki na jung winoton ma no mivrita. Yatuka uwanrika chotin wani maurata wakata chi lumalispa. Yatuka uwanrika chotin wani maurata wakata chi lumalispa. Bram tabanin sochu. Da come jusmak miki baranye doso so rika chondin, wana magrable mogo.
Your thoughts are disturbed. I can feel them from a great distance, like a shiver running through you.
This cave is force-sensitive. I've read of places such as this.
Force-sensitive locations such as this absorb and reflect force energy. The crystals are the catalyst here. I sense that Revan once passed through here, leaving a strong impression behind in the crystals. Perhaps future Jedi who visit this cave will feel our presence, as if seeing our footprints preserved in the soil. The crystals here do not drain force energy from Jedi. They collect the excess energy that radiates from those attuned to the Force. The crystals here are infused with the Force. Some could be harvested and used for lightsabers. That can hardly be avoided. Even mundane actions of the basest creatures can create detectable ripples in the Force. A Minok beating its wings on the plains could cause a sandstorm in the desert, and figuratively speaking, Jedi have much bigger wings. That would create quite a large impression of yourself, and the crystals would eventually grow back. very rare indeed. The crystal's bond with you is such that the stronger you become in the Force, the more powerful your crystal will grow. This crystal will make an excellent focus for a lightsaber. Quite the contrary. Picture yourself as a sieve, and the Force as water pouring into you. This crystal draws from the excess water that escapes the sieve. The crystal is in tune with you. It will use whatever water that pours through you, be it dark or light.
Halt, settler. This is a restricted area. How the hell did you get through the Kinrath? You should leave. This isn't kidnapping, this is bounty hunting. This Jedi is worth a lot of credits on Nar Shaddaa, and we're collecting. I'm gonna say this nice and simple for your little calf-hurting head. Unless you want to wind up dead, leave now. What? That's a Jedi trick! We trained against that during the war. It's a Jedi, man! Kill her before she tries something else!
Defend yourself!
Always rushing into action without thinking of the consequences. What? You're expecting thanks? Khoonda is in danger, and you've ruined the best chance of averting a full-scale conflict. When an opponent believes that you are defeated, they no longer consider you a threat, and they relax their guard, become bold. After I was captured, they talked freely of their plans, enough for me to learn their intentions. I need to get to Khoonda and warn them. They could be attacked at any moment. The mercenaries have allied themselves with the Exchange and are planning to attack Khoonda. They've been holding off for the right moment. And now, since they lost their captive Jedi, they'll attack immediately. I'm going to try to reach Administrator Adari. Time is of the essence.
You are the Jedi I've heard reports of, and I am Azkul, leader of the mercenaries on Dantooine. That is correct, and I want you to help me. You don't need to know the details, but I can tell you there are a lot of credits involved. According to my reports, I have 4 times as many soldiers as the militia, and I'm committed to taking Khoonda. It is inevitable that I will succeed. If you wish to avoid my men eradicating the people of Dantooine, you will make it easier for me to take Khoonda. Of course, I will pay well for your services. There are many ways someone with your abilities can aid us. Before the action begins, I have 2 main tasks in mind for you. Disable the gun turrets and the traps. Deal with the turrets, however you see fit. Just keep them from pestering my men. Decide quickly. I have a slaughter to plan. Return to me when you are ready for us to begin our assault. I warn you not to keep me waiting.
I don't suppose you found any of those atmospheric sensors. That's great news. My offer still stands. I'll pay you 3,000 credits for all of them. It is worth more to us than that. I'll pay you 4,000 credits for the lot of them. Thanks for your help on this. Here are the credits, as promised. I'll get this to Zeron when I get back to Khoonda.
I see you have found the elusive Master Vrook. He's told me that his rescue complicated our situation to some degree. I can't say that I anticipated that. I thank you for finding him, though. Vrook has informed me that the mercenaries devised a plan of attack to annihilate Khoonda itself. I must ask for your aid again, Jedi. Zeron says that even with a plan, the mercenaries have to gather their forces, then coordinate their assault. So we still have time. I'm afraid the militia has not been adequately trained for the task that befalls them. Right now, just us and the militia. I don't want to create a needless panic. But be assured I will make sure that all civilians are warned in time, so they can get to safety. Though if we lose this battle, nowhere on Dantooine will be safe for settlers for long. Our militia is effective at peacekeeping, but isn't prepared for a full-scale battle. If you can do anything to ready them for the reality of it, that would be helpful. Besides that, look around Khoonda and see what you can do to strengthen our defenses. I know that we don't have the perimeter turrets online, and that alone could make a significant difference. Zeron says there is a considerable chance they will breach Khoonda itself. Anything you can do to slow them down could turn the tide of battle. I have instructed the militia and other Khoonda personnel that you are to be provided with anything that can be spared. Unfortunately, that isn't much. Here is a MasterCard key that will open all of the security doors inside Khoonda. Anything that might aid you in your task, please use. Soon, all the civilians will be evacuated. So if you have any business with them, I suggest you take care of it. Whenever you are ready to finalize the defenses, talk with Zeron.
I was right about you. You are trouble, but you might just be the right sort of trouble we need. The mercenaries aren't quick to mobilize, so you have time to do what you need. Or are you ready to finalize the defense plans? We could use people handy with a blaster. Getting people to join the militia for a short stint would be good. We also got a lot of things that could use fixing. It isn't glamorous, but that type of work sometimes makes a load of difference. Just look around. Plenty to be done. Off the top of my head, the 3 turrets outside Khoonda are on the blink. They went haywire the other day and wounded some of my men, so we took them offline. The men who were wounded by the turrets are holed up in the med lab. But our medic droid is busted, so they're healing slowly. I've had some men lay traps around Khoonda, but nobody here really specializes in demolitions. I'm sure there's some gaps that could be filled. The side security door to Khoonda has been malfunctioning as long as I've been here. It may be best to just seal it off lockdown so nobody gets through. We got some broken assault droids that have been collecting dust for the last 5 years. If they were working, it would help a lot with interior defense. If I had it my way, I'd recruit any citizen of Khoonda that can hold a blaster. But it's hard to convince peaceful farmers to fight, maybe die for a cause. I don't know for certain. It could be a day or even a week. Depends on how good Azkul is at organizing his men. I'm guessing not so good. When you're ready, come back and we can talk about the final plans to defend Khoonda.
Thanks for the help. I plan on going back to the farm shortly. Since you're asking me, I suppose I could. I figure I still owe you for helping me with my thief problem. Zeron has asked me several times before to join the militia, so I expect he's going to be very pleased.
gun turret malfunctioned. Hurt us bad. Thanks, stranger. I should be back to duty in no time. Thanks, stranger. Thanks, stranger. Thanks, stranger.
What do you want now? Yeah, I guess so. I'm not too fond of my job, but it's better than the job I'd have if the Mercs took over. I'll report to Zeron for militia duty.
Charanana gundoso remina che l'orakto guru kattada. Fiadratore pada no ringatel camarada tela fibu nubu da bitarana cenirara. Charanana gundoso remina che l'orakto guru kattada. Fiadratore pada no ringatel camarada tela fibu nubu da bitarana cenirara. Terewana jun konata della raguno antuna. Dai rinto run kawrekare papanala ranshinga. Terace wemenoto torere senisensen. Der rinto run to wakare kwe wapgerebu. Nenso telepachan korsada nane gra dall'onuta choloren. Terewana jun konata della raguno antuna. Dai rinto run kawrekare papanala ranshinga. Terace wemenoto torere senisensen. Der rinto run to wakare kwe wapgerebu. Nenso telepachan korsada nane gra dall'onuta choloren. Terewana jun konata della raguno antuna. Dai rinto run kawrekare papanala ranshinga. Terace wemenoto torere senisensen. Der rinto run to wakare kwe wapgerebu. Nenso telepachan korsada nane gra dall'onuta choloren.
Set and activated. 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 Set and activated.
You still lurking around here? Just go back to Khoonda. You're not gonna find any Jedi artifacts here. Except the ones I'm selling. You aren't serious, are you? I'll assume it's a joke, because you don't look that dumb. No, I won't join any flaming militia.
Back again, huh? I don't know what more I can say to you, but it's nice to see you again, regardless. I hadn't even thought of that. I know the militia will take just about anyone. I need the credits and would like working with people who'll actually watch your back. Well, I want to think it through, but I think I might just go to Khoonda and sign up. Thanks for the idea.
Jaren says you saved him down there. Next time you should ask for a reward.
Ah, the traveler has returned. I hope the Dantooine is providing suitable distraction and entertainment for you. So, what should we talk about? I have no real desire to put myself in harm's way for Dantooine. They haven't exactly made the salvager's stay here pleasant.
I was right about you. You are trouble, but you might just be the right sort of trouble we need. The mercenaries aren't quick to mobilize, so you have time to do what you need. Or are you ready to finalize the defense plans? You sure? Once we're done with that, there may not be any time left before the mercenaries attack. All right, then we got a lot to do.
Since you are here to bolster Khoonda's defense, I will hurry to the mercenary camp and delay their assault however I can.
I imagine that the mercenaries have got two goals in this whole thing. Kill me and kill the administrator. The rest of the settlers won't have courage to resist if they succeed. It's not that the settlers aren't good people. Many folk just don't have the fighting mentality. They'd rather just make people happy and get along. But there isn't any getting along with Azkul. He's out for blood and taking the place over. So we gotta protect the administrator. Khoonda can go on without me, but not without her. The administrator's locked up in her office tight, which means that the mercs have to go through us and Khoonda's defenses. Thanks to you, they're gonna have a tougher job. That's about it. Now we just need to dig in and wait for the mercs to come. Well, I'll tell them what's there to do. I'm not much for words. All right, I'll assemble the men. I hope you can speak good. I don't have the words. That was really something. I think any one of them would take a blaster bolt for you now. Let's get ready for the mercenaries. If we fall here, all of Dantooine falls with us.
Responsible for the surprises we've had during this battle. Stand aside. Our quarrel is with a distinguished administrator. This isn't your problem. Is that supposed to convince me, Jedi? I was trained by the Sith. My unit killed many Jedi. I'll give you one last chance. Leave the administrator to her fate. Then you've allied with these flaming settlers. The galaxy doesn't tolerate weakness. I was trained at Malak's Academy. Your tricks won't work on me. You're just another dead Jedi to me.
Sorry I was held up, but it looks like I've arrived in time to pull you out of your predicament.
Kill them all.
Thank you so much for your aid. You can be sure that Dantooine will not forget how the Jedi protected us from this place. We are a humble community, and this conflict has greatly diminished our resources. I hope this reward will be sufficient. I am humbled by your generosity. I will put this to good use. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have much work to do. Dantooine will be slow to rebuild, but I am confident now that we will one day achieve prosperity.
Khoonda is safe in no small part due to you. I feel certain that the Administrator wouldn't have made it without your assistance. I may have misjudged you. In any case, I am free to talk about whatever you wish. There are a few of us left, but I do not even know if the others still live. We may be the last. We've been forced to divide our forces and retreat to places which will be difficult for our enemies to detect and attack. We have chosen to hide our presences from each other, so that the discovery of one will not endanger the others. We cannot. And we have resolved not to until we have found where the Sith are striking from. But even as our numbers thin, there is still no trace of them. We had hoped to outmaneuver them. By letting them believe themselves victorious, we thought they would become bold and step from the shadows. Then, all of us who remained vowed to meet here on Dantooine. From here we can plan a course of action and carry the battle to them. But so far they remain in hiding, and Jedi continue to vanish and die. You have more questions for me? We are at war, but it is unlike any war we have fought before. We have yet to even meet our attackers in battle. Somehow our enemy is targeting us through the Force, striking, then retreating to the shadows. The gathering of any Jedi seems to attract them like a beacon. So it was necessary to divide our forces and conceal ourselves for a time until we could learn more of this threat. Great tragedies, old battlegrounds, places of suffering, all leave wounds on the galaxy and in the Force. In such places the deaths of so many echo, so much so that it is difficult to center oneself. By coming here, those echoes serve to mask my presence, allowing me to investigate the ruins and try to find some clues as to who our attackers are. The Miraluka world of Qatar taught us a terrible lesson. Many Jedi gathered there in an attempt to use the Force to find the location of the enemy. Now the planet is no more. Master Zar, Master Dorak, and many more perished there, and we do not know why or how. But all life on the planet ceased to exist. I was not on Qatar when it was destroyed, but now that it is dead, it has left its echo, like Dantooine. It was after Qatar that the few of us left realized that wherever we gathered, we were placing others in danger, not just Jedi. You have more questions for me? We were not in hiding, despite what you believe. This threat is striking through the Force. There's a reason that we cannot detect it. It is somehow masking its presence from us. I do not know. There are techniques in the Force that hide one's presence and thoughts from other Force users. But I do not believe that such techniques alone would be capable of hiding the enemies we face. It does not seem possible. You have more questions for me? Because you defied the Council and followed Revan to war. And from that war came another. Do you know how many worlds were destroyed in those wars? Dantooine, Telos, Sirocco? Do you see now why we counseled caution instead of action? You were the only one to come back and face judgment. But that was because you had lost your connection to the Force. Another casualty of war. No doubt you still blame us for your exile. I had hoped your isolation would give you time to reflect on what had happened, what you had done. But I see it as not. You have more questions for me? We did nothing to you. Accuse us if you will, but it will not change the truth. Cutting one off from the Force. Such punishments are reserved for only a few. Although it was within our power, we did not inflict such a loss upon you. Your loss was a casualty of war, no more. Perhaps that is a question you should ask yourself. It is not something I could help you with, even if I wanted to. Perhaps it is Dantooine, but I do not feel such from you. I feel nothing but what I felt in the Council Judgment Chamber on Coruscant so long ago. Still, you and your connections were often a subject of debate in the Council. It is possible that returning to known space, journeying with others, has caused the Force to stir within you again. You have more questions for me? Force bonds? Yes. It is the bond that grows between master and student. Are you saying you have bonded with another? Such bonds normally grant strength to both, but not to such a degree. Are you certain? Perhaps it is merely what you believe. Still, your ability to form such connections, to influence others, was always a subject of discussion, even when you were a student here. Perhaps it is a punishment of a sort. But a bond that ties two lives together, such bonds do not seem natural to me. And with your loss of connection to the Force, it seems such a connection would be impossible. Perhaps it is Dantooine, but I do not feel such from you. I feel nothing but what I felt in the Council Judgment Chamber on Coruscant so long ago. Still, you and your connections were often a subject of debate in the Council. It is possible that returning to known space, journeying with others, has caused the Force to stir within you again. You have more questions for me? Have they? I've seen no evidence of them upon Dantooine. Only murderers and raiders. Why would they attack you? You are no Jedi. You cannot feel the Force. For some reason, I believe you. Still, I am curious as to how they would know to find you. Your trial was not public knowledge. Regardless, these Sith have struck, and you survived. This is more knowledge than I had before. And that means the Jedi may gather. If you can find others, or find some trace of the Sith threat, then we shall gather here on Dantooine. And from there we may decide what can be done. You have more questions for me? I suppose there is something I should show you. It will keep you alive long enough to prove useful. I'm only going to demonstrate this once. This is the Sheen form, a defensive stance that's good when you're outnumbered, which is most of the time. This form will increase your ability to deflect blaster fire, and it increases the odds of dealing critical strikes against your attackers. I don't know how you learned that so quickly. Still, your form is sloppy. Keep practicing to tighten it up and you'll be fine.
My lightsaber. You've destroyed it. I yield, Master. It is as I heard through the Force. My life for yours. You must. The alternative is only another death. And I would rather die by your hands. I have nothing to offer you. Your strength is superior. It is as I felt.
Now I've seen everything. This woman, she's a Miraluka. I didn't think any were left in this part of the galaxy. Yeah, they're a pretty secretive race. I heard that some of their kind become Jedi, but a Sith? That's a new one. I'm not sure how you'd go about killing one. It'd be tricky.
Just mentioning it, she looks like she's suffered enough wounds already, even after the beating you gave her. I heard they had a colony on the Mid-Rim, almost halfway between Onderon and Dantooine. Then, it wasn't there anymore. The whole planet was wiped out. Nothing left alive. No one knows why.
Well, some of her wounds are pretty bad. Looks like she was already carrying her share of scars, though. I think she'll recover, yeah.
You spared her. I did not believe you would. I am more concerned about what she will do when she recovers. Just be careful. Not everyone can be saved. There is something I have observed, and now I feel I must say it. I have found your presence to be inspiring. With your growth in the Force, you seem to have found your center, and throughout the dangers we face, you remain calm and focused. I understand now why others followed you to war. Perhaps that is what leadership is. And it is something I have seen in only a few during my travels. In any event, it has been some time since I traveled with a Jedi, nor one so firmly upon the path. I wanted to thank you. I fear the stories that were spoken of you have misrepresented you, and if I have the opportunity, I shall reverse them whenever they arise. Very well. Then I shall keep my favorable opinions to myself. That is hardly surprising. What do you wish to know? You are correct. I am afraid I have not been entirely open with you concerning my past. If I look familiar, it is because we have met before, at the Enclave on Dantooine, many years ago. As on Coruscant, Force-sensitive children are taken to Dantooine as well, though it is done rarely and only with those they believe are destined to become Jedi Knights. It is the secret nature of the place. If you are not chosen by a master when you have come of age, however, then the path of the Jedi is denied to you. I met you on Dantooine, long ago, briefly. You taught us how to move within the Force and see it flow within others. How to see it in the behaviors of others and use that sight to achieve truth. It is difficult to explain the difference between you and Master Vrook, but I think it is because he was knowledgeable, but not a leader, not a mentor. You were different. We could all feel it. And I knew that if I were to have a master, I would want it to be you. And then you went to war. Many Jedi went to war, and the Jedi Masters proclaimed that you were Jedi no longer. Atris, the mistress of the archives, was first among them. I knew at that moment that if you would no longer be a Jedi, then you must be correct. I realized I did not want to be a Jedi. Instead, I wished to follow your path. And in any event, there was no one to train me, even if I wished it. They all went to war as I grew past the age of acceptance. It is possible to forget the Force, you know. If you have not felt it strongly enough, then there is little to miss. But I never felt the Force as strongly as I did when I was with you. And so I decided to serve the Republic, study the Jedi teachings, gather them perhaps. It was important to me to understand the Jedi now that they were gone. I felt some part of you should be preserved, so that your lessons would not be lost. Perhaps. I still harbor doubts about the path I walked. It is not time, if there ever is a time. I am on a diplomatic mission. I am one of several tasked with attempting to contact any remaining Jedi and convince them to return to the Republic. I know something of the Jedi. I have studied them for a good portion of my life, and now that they are gone, I do not think it is a matter of luck or chance, only my own inability to find them. While the Enclave trained me for many things, I am afraid that the life of a bounty hunter was not among them. I suspect my turning away from the Force is also a hindrance in such cases. I imagine the Jedi would be easier to find if I still maintained my connections to the Force. No. It is something of a mystery why they would exile themselves as they have. It is not the way of the Jedi to vanish in such a way, especially when the Republic is in need of them. I fear that there is something else at work. Something that we cannot see. Then again, perhaps the Jedi are hiding simply because so many people hate them these days. It is difficult sometimes for the Jedi to see such things, since much of it is rooted in human nature, and the Jedi are often removed from events of daily life, insulated. But the reason the Jedi Civil War was named such was because few in the galaxy can recognize the difference between the Sith and the Jedi. To them, they are both Jedi, with different philosophies. That is hardly surprising. What do you wish to know? Many Jedi went to go fight in the Mandalorian Wars, and few returned. To their disciples left behind on Dantooine, on Coruscant, there were few masters to train them. I was one such student. Perhaps not as strong in the Force as the others, but it really did not matter. The teachers left behind were few. Only a few students were accepted as the Mandalorian Wars raged on, and when I came of age, there were no masters left to train me. So I was forced to leave the Order, to seek my path elsewhere. It was for the best, I think. I had begun to have doubts, and I think the masters were aware of them. Your apologies are not needed or warranted. I chose not to follow the Jedi, and the choice was my own. That is hardly surprising. What do you wish to know? A Force bond? What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand. No, I thought I had heard mention of such connections in some of the holocrons, but I do not possess them. They are part of the holocrons that were taken from the Enclave. I do not know. I do not know who has taken them. If we were to find them, perhaps I could help you find the answers you need. I know some of what you speak. It is said that when a Jedi and Padawan establish a close connection, that they can feel each other across distances and coordinate their movements in battle. The intensity of the connection varies. That bonding is said to also be something that manifests itself in such techniques as Bastila's battle meditation, the ability to touch the minds of others, to demoralize or inspire them. It is also said that moments of death or near death may also cause such bonds. The stronger one is in the Force, the stronger the connection. I've never heard of a bond being lethal. I suppose such a thing is possible. I had not truly believed Bastila's battle meditation until I had seen it in action. Thoughts. Images, perhaps, but not actual communication and words. A bond often causes a sensation to be passed along it, such as extreme fear and pain. Still, I have seen Jedi who have the ability to communicate with aliens and beasts. It is a rare thing. Perhaps telepathy is one such talent. That is hardly surprising. What do you wish to know? Forgive me, but there is something I must ask. In my study of the Jedi histories and the more contemporary records, I have heard tales of a Jedi who was exiled. You are that Jedi, but the records are somewhat evasive on why this was done. I wanted to discuss why you chose to leave the Jedi Order and accept exile. I see. And because you went to war, they cast you out? Do you have a record of this trial? Perhaps I shall examine it when I get the chance, with your permission. I appreciate your trust. Thank you.
You know, I'm glad I found you again, General. We were together at Malachor. I don't know if anyone else could understand. You getting philosophical on me? I'm here because you found me on Telos and I decided to come along for the ride. Not that I had much choice after we got going. Tired of me already? I was frustrated. Watching the Ithorians getting pushed around by Zerka, I thought I could make a difference, but it was taken away from me. Guess if one planet was good enough for me, why not the galaxy? You just have to know what the circuits look like. I'll be sure to do that, General. Was there something you wanted me for?
My life for yours. I am able to serve. If we enter battle, I will fight and die alongside you. I have not heard that question in some time. My flesh is healed if that's the answer you seek. I know, and I fear that others will see the mercy in your actions, and in my survival, and use it as a weapon to do you greater harm. I felt you, heard you through the Force. It was like a sound at the edge of hearing, and when I heard it, I found I could not ignore it. I serve my master. I am an emissary, a scout. My master was aware of a disturbance in the Force, but was unaware of its nature, of you. The disturbance is not something one feels from a living thing. There is little my master does not know, and that you eluded his sight for so long is significant. But I do not know why. You cannot. His vessel roams the borders of known space, and even I do not know where he travels. Until he calls for me, even if I could lead you to my master. I cannot permit you to find him until you are ready. If I bring you before my master untested, without your potential realized, then you will be lost to me, and I cannot allow that to happen. It would be as if one brought fire to a paradise valley, shattered a cavern of rare crystal, or blinded a painter. I cannot, I will not. I would die first, and gladly, to preserve you, untouched, unharmed. Now that I have found you, I cannot sacrifice what I have found. You will meet my master. It is inevitable. I have seen it. And when you stand before him and realize what you face, you must be prepared. Until then, I must protect you, help you, until you are ready. There's a greatness in you. A greatness that does not stem from the Force. It stems from who you are. And if my master does not understand you, cannot see you, then perhaps there is hope for us all. But if you seek to survive, then you must understand why this is so. There is much I see my master cannot. I fear it is because of my nature, the nature of my race. My people spend their lives seeing the galaxy, the energy streaming off stars, the growth of life, all things touched by the Force. It is not a subject which I have spoken of since its destruction. It was not a thing done with machines or weapons. The Force is far more terrible, and it touches more lives than any machine can hope to slay. For everyone that feels the Force, strongly, deeply, each one feels and perceives it in their own way. You have strengths, whether you know it or not, and my master has his. His power is great, and it comes from hunger. He is a wound in the Force, more presence than flesh. And in his wake, life dies, sacrificing itself to his hunger. And those who feel the Force strongly are beacons to his hunger. My people, my planet, would have been attacked in time. It was inevitable. Yet we could do nothing about it. The Jedi, the last council of the Jedi, came to our world to meet in secret. They hoped that perhaps among our people, they could achieve the clarity to see what was striking them from the darkness of the galaxy. They succeeded, but only in bringing him from the outer regions. And Qatar, with my kind, with the Jedi upon its surface, could no longer be ignored. And my people died, and the Jedi died, and there was no one left, only me. They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat. He cannot deny his hunger for long, and any gathering of Jedi is something he cannot long resist. And now that the Jedi are vanishing, I do not know what will happen. Perhaps he will grow strong enough to eradicate all life, merely with his presence. I will answer what I can, but my answers may prove useless to you. I am not familiar with the place you speak of. My master has not entered Republic space for some time, but there are others who may move more freely, who may have been responsible for such an act of destruction. There are many factions within the Sith, all seeking to take what little remains in the wake of the Jedi Civil War. Where one moves, it is not always known to the others. But their purpose is the same, the death of all Jedi, everywhere. They believe you are the last of the Jedi, and their hatred of the Jedi unites them. All their eyes are upon you, and it is a terrible, quiet darkness that pursues you. I will answer what I can. My people once had the power to perceive events, to see through the Force. That sight may manifest itself in many ways, and at times, I may affect the abilities of others to see as well. My sight has been damaged. What I have taught you, it is not the full extent of the perceptions of my people. My master, when he showed me my world, showed it to me as it is. It hurt. And since that moment, it has been difficult to perceive the Force as I once did. But after traveling with you, I feel that perhaps there was a gift in it, hidden beneath the pain. Only when one suffers do certain truths become evident, both of the galaxy and of the self. And I feel you are an example of this. Forgive me, but before you go, I must ask, why do you do this? Why do you seek to help me, teach me? You must not do this. I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me. So you say, but it is not something I have observed or seen. I remember little of my homeworld before I entered my master's service. It is not as it was. There is little left of such memories, or the planet itself. Very well. Perhaps we shall speak more of this at another time. But know this, I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me.
Ah, you are here. You felt it, did you not? The time to hide your presence is coming to a close, and you will need to increase your training. You are ready. Your training must increase, and there are higher mysteries you must learn. But only you must know the path you will take. I cannot choose it for you. Is it battle that stirs you? To meet an enemy blade upon blade? Such is the way of the greatest of Jedi warriors, the weapon masters. Or perhaps it is investigating the mysteries of the galaxy, seeking out injustice and harm, and bringing it into the light. Such is the way of the Jedi Watchman in the time of Ulic Qel-Droma and Exar Kun. Or perhaps your way lies upon the ancient mysteries, and to teach others the ways of the Force, as I have, the way of the Jedi Masters. It is not some great test you require to be what you strive to be. It is only your decision to find that path that matters. From here on, you guide your destiny. But in order to take the next steps, you must face your past and put it to rest. You have befriended the Seer. Her species does not see as we do. They perceive the galaxy through the Force, and it is how she found you. It is a rare gift squandered on her people. The Sith carry the battle to you, and you spare them. And as we travel, the empty places of this ship are filled. I hope your thoughts in this matter are clear. If you take her on as a servant, know that the Sith meet their end at the hands of their apprentices. It is not something I would wish to happen to you. This one you have saved has other masters. Though blind, she has ties to darkness. Her presence here is a threat to us, to you. Do not underestimate her or her loyalty. Then you are learning. Did he? And what do you make of that? The Mandalorians were right to respect you on the field of battle. The Jedi are gone, vanished. Now, an entire planet of Force sensitives wiped clean of life. And now this slice of the galaxy is blind. It is no coincidence. The two events are tied. I fear you are right. And I fear it may prove more than that. War is a hunger. And there are spirits in the galaxy whose hunger is never satisfied. But there is little to be done about it now. Watch the seer carefully. She may reveal more. Ask, and I will answer. That crystal is bonded to you. Through you, it acquires its character and strength. And through it, your power is enhanced. Let me focus on the crystal for a moment. There, now it is fully in tune with you again. Is there something else you wished? He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the Dark Lords that pursues you. I do not think he knows what you are. Not yet. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi did not. One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and perceive the universe as we do, as most of us do. I had hoped that you would not have to confront him, but her presence here has changed all that. You will have to meet him in battle. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master. It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force, and feeding upon the death it causes. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through instinct, through experiencing its effects firsthand. Yes, and he fed upon its destruction. It will sustain him for a time. Power? Do you think so? You would be wrong. There is no strength in the hunger he possesses, and the will behind his power is a primal thing. And it devours him as he devours others. His mere presence kills all around him, slowly feeding him. He is already dead. It is simply a question of how many he kills before he falls. Nothing is impossible with the Force. It is an energy that flows through all living things. And like energy, it may be harnessed, channeled, and consumed at times. It may even be a substance that can burn and ignite. Do not think of his power as one would a weapon, or one of your warships of the Republic. It is terrible, but it is still a subtle thing. The sect of assassins that chase you feed on the Force. What he does is simply the pinnacle of what they could achieve in time. And that is why they and their techniques must be wiped out. No one again must experience and learn what her master did. As much as one may use the Force to bolster the wills and strengths of others, the reverse is possible, though not often used. Instead of sending one's will through connections in the Force, instead such connections are drawn upon, fed upon, and drained completely. Then you understand how terrible such a power is, and why it must be ended. It is an empty road to the dark side, and by traveling it, the price is death before one's time. He is a breach in the Force, capable of consuming the lives of those around him. Sometimes the touch is slow, as it is with his crew. It is not something he can direct or focus, much like hunger itself. He is more of a hole in the Force than a living thing. Force sensitives and worlds rich in the Force draw him. The Miraluka world was one such place. That is why where the Jedi gather, Jedi will die. He will feel it, unless they mask their presence. But Katar called out as a beacon to him, and he could not resist it. And he cares nothing for the Sith, or its teachings, or the Jedi. And when the Jedi are dead, he will feed on the galaxy, the Republic, and eventually consume the Sith as well. There is no future in the empty galaxy he sees, and that is why he must be stopped. The breach must be sealed before his power grows beyond what even we can hope to stop. Perhaps he is bound to her, as I am bound to you. If so, there may be a death served by hers. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master. Ask, and I will answer. She did nothing to your eyes that was not already there. She has forced this upon you, but such crude methods are the markings of the Sith. Close your eyes. Feel this ship around you, the welding of the droid as it goes about its work. Now stretch out. Hear the rumble of hyperspace, the hum of the hyperdrive. Ignore distractions and focus on my voice. The breathing of the blinded one as she meditates in the dark. Now, listen deeper, past her breathing, and listen.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Katar, I shall not fear, for in fear lies death, and
you are strong indeed. What you heard were surface thoughts only, but it is something that masters have trained for years and never learned. That is not the real question you should ask. Is such listening enough to perceive the world around you? It is not. Because to listen to the thoughts of another is much like attempting to see the universe only with your eyes. It is equally limiting. Now leave me be. I must rest.